valuable things that they want to try to take. Okay, the threat actor will do some actions. Okay, by using the vulnerability to get the assets. So there is a risk in this one. If we lose one of these components, so there will be not a risk. That's why between vulnerability and asset, there is not, we call it non-threat. This is, we don't call it a risk. Okay, but combination between threat, vulnerability and asset, we call it a risk. See, there is a vulnerability, there is a threat, there is a bad guy, there is also some weaknesses, okay, but there is no asset. So will the threat actor will do something? No, of course. Is it? Okay, you are walking with a lot of mind and blank, okay, but you don't bring anything, okay, you don't bring wallet, you don't bring anything, and there is a bad guy, threat actor or skill or fair and they don't interest in you because you don't have any assets. So answer. So this one is avoidance. So remove the risk completely by, for example, like stopping using vulnerable software and so on. Mitigation is mean that try to reduce it, try to reduce the risk. Okay, for example, like you're applying the security patch, install firewalls, at the IDS, IPS, and so on. The last one is transfer. Transfer is mean shift the risk into another party through, for example, like insurance, the insurance policy. The second thing is maybe you don't want to do it yourself by yourself. Then you asking for another protections or services from other companies. For example, you don't have your own security operation centers. So as you do, you apply services from the SOC company by using the service level agreement or LSA. So you can reduce or transfer the risk into another. So if companies, the third party cannot provide you, okay, the complete SLA that has been agreed between your company and the third party company, so you can shift the risk, okay, the impacts into that company. The third is acceptance. Okay, some of them there is some risk actually that we can accept it because the impact is very low. Okay, the risk is very low. The impact is not. For example, like here, when you are using CML, for example, isn't it? For the first time, you type the IP address and then suddenly come up with some message. This is not secure, isn't it? So because you know that even though there is some, it's not secure, but if somebody breaches, knows your username and password and breaches, so actually the impact is not too high. So you just allow possibilities. Safety. All of systems inside the internal organization, there are when these web applications, web-based applications. Of course, when web-based application, they will open it by using the browser, isn't it? But since the browsers currently already become evolved or using an HTTPS, so what happened in here, when you go to the servers, like application, web application server, so it's come up with the error. Common message is not secure because the public key, okay, the key that is sent by the server is not registered in the PKI system, public key. But of course, what you do is just allow and everything because you know it is a place. Okay, so this is because the one that able to access to that organization's system must be computers or a machine from inside the organization itself. From the outside, you cannot access it. So we call it a acceptance. So for example, like low impact risk in a small system, so you can ignore it. You can accept it. So mostly, avoidance, we cannot avoid all the risks. It is impossible. Okay, and we cannot accept all the risks. It is not possible. And also transfer. You can transfer all the risks into other party, but it will take too much cost. Okay, that's why the most important thing that we can do in a network security or everything is we try to mitigate. We try to reduce the risk. Okay, and then some of the risk can be transferred, some of the risk can be accepted, or some of the risk can be avoided. Okay. So who will attack? So the one who will give a attacker is we call it a okay. Attackers can be personal, can be a groups, or can be a nation. So this is somebody who are behind the attacks. So this is the type of the threat actors. You already know this one. The first ones can be split kiddies. Okay, this is unskilled persons. Okay, they doing by having a what call it? Giving by using a script that has been published. So usually for fun, curiosity or something. So if you are starting by using guidelines to do the ethical hacking and everything, so you are considered as a script case. Okay. Or of course it's an ethical hacking, so the most important thing is you don't do it on the live system. Okay. You do it on the live system. Believe me, if you do it on the system inside the UM, okay, then network computer will. Whether they want to take an action or not is depend on them. Because there are some of the methods, for example, that can be they try to do some things, but the network admin in terms of giving a punishment, okay, they what call it? Okay, they not integrate actually. They want to know how they are able to do that. So the network admin able to learn some things, isn't it? And try to stop this. There are a lot of things. A lot of things happen. For example, in one of my friend's university, some of the students are able to go to the system and change the mark. Okay, of course they know, isn't it? Because everything will be logged. Mark is very sensitive, isn't it? All the other information is very sensitive. Okay. But instead of they are giving a punishment, it's very easy. They just restore the backup, isn't it? Everything will be finished. But the most important thing they want to know actually how it can be done. So they are try to find who will do it, okay, calling them, and then ask how you do it. So in this case, so they are able to know what is the weaknesses of the system, the fundamental system, and they try to do the patchings or they modify some of the code maybe. It's depend on the type of weaknesses, because weaknesses can be from the machines, can be from the code itself. For example, like the web applications, there is some not secure code. Okay, so in case you are very interested on the software development and please learn about the secure coding. When we go for about 15 or 20 years ago, when we don't use internet so much, so all the program actually is standalone program. So you don't need to think about the security. Okay, but currently we know that there is a very very small program that actually doesn't connect to the internet. As an access internet machine. When we are in the AI, isn't it? So every software has an AI function. how you get the AI function if you don't have any AI machines in your computer? So it means that the software must retrieve or send your information, the data and everything into another machine, another data center. So even though Microsoft is they are increasing the price, okay, forcing some of the subscribers, for example, like business or office 365, small for families and everything. They increase the price, they give up. Yeah. So ada register subscribe for office 3 so sepatutnya tak perlu lah ya. You are still in here. So, but when you are for your family and everything, so far Office 365 is I think the best options. The best options in case of utilities for productivity, again compared to Google actually. Okay. So this is a script kiddies, activists. So you just need to read it website. Okay. these bad hackers, they increase. So not only just script DBs or black hat hackers, we want somebody who has a knowledge and skill trying to protect the groups. Okay. And then we go to the information security. We already know that yes, security is very, network security is very big. Okay, but most of them, okay, we try to secure the information because information actually the critical asset. Okay, because in the cyber security, when you try to attack to get a physical asset, so actually you can do it. Okay, but mostly it is only rare occasions. Most of them are trying to get assets in the form of data. So that's why it's part of the information security. So information security actually already, in my opinion, is older compared to the network security. Because information security already there, okay, before we have a computer networks. Because information already there, how to manage the information, how to secure the information, how to store and everything. Even though in the university, for example, like assessment, your assessment result, or when we preparing the final exam questions and everything, they provide the security information security procedures. There will be an officers, there is procedures, they will give a report, there is a lot. When do you access to, when you submit, lecturers is submitting the draft of the final exam. Somebody are doing a review, when they do review, there will be a lot every day for everything. Okay, this is the finals, it has been the lecturers already approved it or not approved it, and so on and so on. So, everything there will be a procedure. There is a special room. Okay. Ada sampai setengah universiti itu dia buat macam bilik kebal. Yang pintu tuh yang segini, dia boleh masuk macam dekat bank. Kamu macam tu. Sebab memang is very very important. And then kalau dah ada tu prosedur ya, kita kena kena simpan data, all the assessment, all your assessment, not only the final exams. Selama 4 tahun. Maknanya bilik itu kalau ada kebakaran, dia tak boleh terbakar. So it's all of this. This has become like a standard in our system. So that's why information security, usually we talk about the CIA. I think you already know this one. Okay, confidentiality, integrity, availability. So this is only the review. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay? And then related to the attack methods. Attack method is all of this. Okay? Can be malware, okay? Can be phishing. What is phishing? Yes. Try to attack by using email. Yeah. If we go for detail for like a phishing attacks, phishing attacks can be like a spear phishing, whale phishing. You can try what is the differences. Okay, or just spam. Okay. DDoS and DOS. What is the difference between DOS and DDoS?
From many places, from one place.
What from?
Many places, distributed.
Distributed. So what about DOS?
One.
Only one source. So say DDoS is more than one source of attacks. What is the purpose? What is the goal?
Jam traffic. To disrupt network traffic.
To disrupt network traffic. Yes, this is one of it. But it's not that one. Actually, to make sure that the victim will not be able to give the surface. That's why we call it denial of service. One of them, the methods can be, for example, like overload the physical of the system itself. Okay, for example, you are overloading the random access memory, or you give attacking so the processor is very high, okay, utilities, and then you will not be able to provide any new task. Okay? If you cannot attack the server, for example, so what you do, you attack the traffic. Of course, the server says will be connected into a network, isn't it? So you will attack the bandwidth. Okay? You cannot attack the machines, but what you do, you just try to ping out of the machine, for example. Okay? 5 million ping in 1 second. Of course, your bandwidth will be full. So if there is any client or customers trying to access to the system, so bandwidth already full, so they cannot do it. Okay? They cannot access. Other things, when the video attacks, spoofing, password attacks, social engineering. So let's try to explain this one. Okay, try to find examples. Okay. This is an example here. This is examples here. This is only an example, but maybe, for example, like examples, for example, in the specific part, for example, in the back, for example, in the irrigation systems or everything. Okay. So the other thing is to detect and to prevent. Attacks, you know, and one of them is we are using the IDS and log monitoring. To prevent, we try to stop. Okay, not only just detect, they try to stop the attacks before it can cause the damage. So for example, you put a firewall, you put the IPS, so on. So this is differences, logs, okay, detection, prevention, as well as the features and so on. The last one is cryptography. Cryptography is a method to protect information. Okay, so the cryptography can be used for confidentiality, integrity, authentication, non-regulations. I believe I already explained this very detailed. Okay, so you can reverse into that. This is a type of cryptography, symmetrics, asymmetrics. Okay, what is the difference between it? What is the FATS and FATS? Okay, for example, this is a symmetrics. It is fast, but it's not too secure. Asymmetric is secure, but it is slow. When we use the symmetrics and asymmetrics, we need to know. Okay, and this is the example of the algorithm. Okay, when you are using SSH, for example, you will use the RSA. That's right. When you generate SSH RSA, okay, so you will have two key. One is public key, and then the one is private key. So this is example. So for example, if you are configuring a router or a switch SSH, then some people here try to do an SSH. Okay, into the system. So by default, the SSH software will come up. There is a new key you want to save or you want to use this key. It means that when this SSH contact to the router will send you a public key. So what you do, you need to save this public key into your computer. If you don't save it, so the next time you do an SSH, they will ask whether you want to set this public key. Okay. So this is a point security. Call it a point because it's I think the last thing that we've done. Okay. Endpoints. This is end user service can be laptop, mobile, tablet, cell phones, IoT device, and everything. So this is including in that endpoint. So the endpoint is set up to mostly used to prevent infection, detect suspicion, block, and protect the data. Okay. So there are a lot of methods to do the endpoint security, but the traditional one usually using the antivirus and basic. But this traditional endpoint security is already obsolete. Okay. Because of what? Because it not be able to protect the 0 days. Okay. It's not connected to the global threat intelligence. Okay. Some of them are only based on the signatures. Okay. Some of them are having what call it heuristics, but it's not the newest data, the newest data source and everything. So if you are using the endpoint, modern endpoint, for example, you can use the ADR, XDR, AI analytics, cloud security, and so on. Okay. So in order to defend your networks, we cannot just create the one protections or two protections. We must go for defense in depth. Okay. What is defense in depth? We have a multi-layer security. Okay. Not only on the layer 7, but can be also like layer 1. Okay. For example, like yes, your own server is an Indian example. Layer 1, for example, is only the server's rooms. Okay, can be accessed only for certain person. And we have a lot of things in here. And there is some rooms, we call it a network room, there is a door, so they close it, then they lock it, and so on. So they put the switch over there, they put all the connection over there. So can you imagine if it is open and then somebody able to put the console line? So they can try to do anything to get a password, isn't it? And access and so on. So that defense is important because no single security system is perfect. Okay, that can be used different methods. If you only have one layer or two layers security protections, maybe the other attacks techniques will not be able to be protected. Okay, provide backup protections if one layer fails. Okay, and increase detection and response times. So the other way around, we are also creating what we call DMZ, or individual zones. Is this to separate the network segment that can be accessed from the public and the network segment that only able to be accessed from the inside. Okay. So this is an example is if we doesn't use the DMZ, the web server or email servers, okay, and put it inside the internet networks can be accessed from the outside. It means that your internal networks, okay, can be accessed by anybody from the outside network. So this is not secure. Okay. So if this web server or email server has been hacked, so the attacker can have an access into the internal system. So we put the web server, and then email servers or any other servers that can be accessed from the public in the DMZ. So this is the examples here. This is internal networks and this is the agent network. So it's public, web servers, okay, and then email servers and other things. And we put it to the DMZ networks. Okay, some of them currently we have a cloud, isn't it? Okay, the cloud itself. So some of them they're moving their public web server address or their email address into the cloud service. Okay. So it is secure. The cloud security is still questionable. Okay. Because of what? Because actually when you are going to the cloud, this means it is a data center, isn't it? So it's means that data center, let's say we have one blade computers, okay, with RAM, memories, and the storage. So this one blade is not belong to one organization. It can be used by many organizations. So inside of this, there is a lot of virtual machines. These virtual machines is running at the same hardware resources. Okay. So some of the threat actors can access into the VM. They buy the service and everything, and then they try to find the vulnerability of the systems for the data centers, and then they can have an access into the memory or into the RAMs or even to the networks that is provided for the different VMs. It's very interesting actually if you are because currently the cloud security actually has become one of the biggest topics in the research or to be implemented. Because we will move from the personal spheres into the cloud. Even though, for example, like Cisco, some of the Cisco at the time, they need to, if you want their remote workings, so they need to create a VPN by using we call it AnyConnect software into the let's say we have a data centers in Cisco. Okay, so they create the tunnelings and then they are able to access into any information in here. But right now, they don't need to go for VPN anymore. Because of what? Because they already moved these data centers into the cloud. So the security is become of cloud security. So what happens? They are able to access everywhere without any VPN and so on from anywhere by using the normal web process. So it's the same thing, like you are currently going into the Google Drive, OneDrive, and everything there. When you sit here, you just need username and password. The other security handled by the Google and handled by the OneDrive. So I believe you actually also, I don't know, if you have access for Microsoft Teams, isn't it?
Okay.
So Microsoft Teams and everything said you want to share some file by using your account in IUM. One of the protection is you will not be able to share it with outside account,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
This is one of the protection. Tapi pada awal-awal cloud tak ada features. So what happens? So a lot of academics they try to share, okay? They share it, then they think, the users think that I just share within the organization. But actually they share to the global level. So everybody are able to access to that share. So the security, the software and everything, they are increasing. Also they are developed, updated to the request of the customers. Okay, this is routing protocol security. What is routing protocol? Can you give me examples?
Not domestic. OSPF,
OSPF,
RIP.
HIP, RIP. Okay, so routing protocol security. So routing protocols refer method to protect a routing protocol from the attacks. Okay. Why they need to protect the routing protocol? Okay, to secure the routing protocol. Because if the routing protocol is not secure, so they can create the attacker can create a fake route. Okay, they can drop the network traffics. Okay, they can redirect the traffic into the trajectories when the middle attacks and so on. So how the routing protocol works? Routing protocol works is to communicate between the routers. They will communicate about the routing information. So they will communicate this time. If there is any changes, they will communicate it. But let's say for example there is a threat actor in here acting as a routers and then sending into this routers, router 1. I have a new route into certain networks. Okay, but the networks actually it is the route is not the real route. Okay, fake. So what happened here? So every computer, the client router 1 when to go to let's say 1.1.1.0 network. So should be good here, but because there is another information that injected by the tracker, they send it to the traffic. So this will happen. So your networks, your data has been known by the tracker. So this is what we call it a man in the middle attacks. So a lot of things the way to do that. Okay. So that's why how to secure this routing protocol. The easiest one is authentication. So you already learned how to authenticate OSPF, isn't it? The packet traces is yes, one of them is OSPF. I think packet traces also allowed to use the IGRP, okay, to do authentication. IP also to do authentication. So you do a route filtering only certain information from certain route that you want to receive, or you can go on access controls. Okay, please try to understand about the routing protocols mechanism. And then this one, network device management, is to process to configure, monitoring, securing, and network devices. Okay, there are a lot of things, but this example here is NTPN. This is NTP. What is the purpose of NTP?
Time.
Okay, to synchronize the
Time.
times for all devices in your network. What's this log?
To log any changes.
To log and to save the log. Okay, the logs can be anything, isn't it? So the logs will be variable if it is also including the time. Okay, the time information. Not only just the password is changes, but when it's changed. So it's the most important. That's why NTP and syslog is usually is partners, and the threat vector that try to attack the NTP and try to attack the syslog to evade the detections. Okay, to erase the trace. This is things that we can, the comparisons and so on. Okay. This is the topics for the practice exam. We will do the practice exam on 11 June. Okay, release is the time. Okay, we will use the Cisco Packet Tracer version 9.0. Okay, if you have different versions, uninstall it and install only version 9.0. Okay, to make sure that you will be able to open the file that I will share for the practice exam. Okay. Everything said, everything in here has been, the topic actually has been done in your assignments. Okay. How to connect with class, the reviews and reviews. So the time is around 1 hour. Okay. Any questions? Anything that you want to ask?
Sir, for our practical exam, practical exam this is day, will the file be in packet tracer activity or will you just provide us with document?
In packet tracer activity.
So there will be like assessment item 100%.
Yes, but you will not be able to access to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just thinking whether I also will include the percentage or not.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, let me think about that. If we are using the real device, we don't have the percentage.
Yeah.
I don't know anything whether our comment actually correct or not. Okay. After that, we need to verify testing and everything. Okay. Kalau praktis untuk ITN macam tu, bukan pakai tracer juga.
Kita orang tak ada practical exam. Tak ada practical test. Sebelum ni tapi saya transfer yang ITN tapi ESA tak ada.
Tak ada.
Tak ada langsung.
SE.
Ada
Sini saja.
Tak pernah ambil ITN, macam mana pernah ambil ITN?
dulu. Kau dah tahu. Semua ada.
Tak ada. Dato' Anwar tu yang optional tu, yang kita orang kan awal quiz.
Kita
Section kita orang
orang
pilih
pilih
quiz. Tapi at section kau buat practical kan. Tapi tu basic kan, basic dekat dalam lab. Buat physical.
Oh,
Basic.
physical device lah.
Sebab
Tapi tak ada lab PKA.
okay, tak ada.
Oh, maknanya dia punya buat praktis using the real device.
Kat certain section korang.
Dia lain-lain, lecturer lain,
Macam section saya tak ada.
lain style.
Oh, betul tu?
Terus quiz. Quiz kita.
Semester lepas ada 2 orang lecturer ajar
Untuk apa?
untuk subjek
ENSA and Enterprise Network.
Enterprise Network.
Semuanya student ramai lah.
Ramai.
Ramai.
Sebab itu semua kena ambil. Jadi kau
Yang ni tak semua.
yang ni
Siapa
tak
nak
semua.
specialize ni.
So ITN, SRWE dengan ENSA semua.
SRWE gabung dengan ENSA satu course.
ATN kita orang tak ambil kat sini.
Dulu berapa tahun saya mengajar ITN tu kita praktis exam pun benar real device.
Oh.
Ya. Kalau lagi guna pakai file ni lagi selamat sikit.
Betul.
Kalau time guna real device ni, pertama kita kena cucuk kabel kan.
Console.
Kita bagi dia topologi kena tutup kabel. Lepas tu dia balik dekat komputer dia, kita buat configuration. Ketika testing, tak boleh testing, dia tengok-tengok mas komputer dia okey, tengok-tengok sana pecah fikir.
Boleh buat habis.
Katanya siapa yang kabel ni? Oh ingatkan kabel saya sir. So memang lagi 1 jam setengah tu tak cukup sebenarnya. Kita ada ready lah. Ini 1 jam tu sebetulnya cukup. Tapi itulah. Kemudian ketika anak cucuk pertama kali itu terkadang mereka pergi ke satu tempat ya. Nah kalau sini dia oke lah, mana satu ada beberapa
Satu rack.
Nah kalau dekat tempat saya dulu rack itu ada letak ke belakang. Jadi ada 3 rack tu sebelahan gitu lah ya. Sampai ada jadi sebenarnya orang kena tunggu dulu.
Oh, teguting.
Ya, sebab kalau mereka tak bersabar itu kan tiba-tiba ada cabut. Ada cabut itu punya orang lain kan. Dan pulang boleh diupload kepala ini. Kalau udah VLAN plugging dekat port yang switch yang berkelainan itu memang problem kan. Kalau kita belajar VLAN tuh kena masuk dekat FA05 tiba-tiba ada orang cabut
Pindah.
ya FA07 tadi gitu ya. Configurations cannot be. So inilah ya apa-apa yang ada di sini practice yang enggak PK file itu nanti kalau keluar lah. So if you have any questions, so you can ask.
Jadi first nak ikut yang keluar. At the same time.
Okay, yes, I give you the presentation. Okay, so give you the presentation, but you cannot access into what details.
Port mana tak buat.
But if you